Tantor Audio, a division of Recorded Books, presents The Artifice of Intelligence, Divine and Human Relationship in a Robotic Age, by Noreen Herzfeld. Foreword by Ted Peters. Narrated by April Doty. Foreword. We call ourselves Homo sapiens sapiens. We are the smart species. We are the wise species. Because we have naming rights, we call ourselves something admirable, enviable, exalted. We call ourselves intelligent. We are so very smart that we plan to invent a future with a post-human species smarter than we are. Smart? Yes. Wise? Well, that's questionable. Noreen Herzfeld brings seasoned wisdom to an otherwise labyrinthine exploration into the implications of artificial intelligence, AI, for the human and perhaps even post-human future. Herzfeld is herself a hybrid computer scientist and theologian who combines mind and heart, intellect and feeling, profane and sacred. Perhaps Herzfeld's greatest gift to the conversation is realism. As a computer scientist, she parses what AI can do and what AI cannot do. This frees us from hype and fantasy to pursue a realistic spirituality. Herzfeld warns us not to personify nor deify AI. Personification and deification mark detours from our life's main road toward an authentic relationship with one another and with God. 20th century Swiss Reformed theologian Karl Barth reminds us that you and I can become fully human only when we give ourselves to others as companion, associate, comrade, fellow, and helpmate. Humanity lives and moves and has its being in this freedom to be oneself with the other, and oneself to be with the other. Should we personify AI? Someday, after deep machine learning, might a robot become a person? A person with free will? A person who loves us and whom we can love? Freedom is the first and obvious hurdle for an AI to even begin to approach personhood. Herzfeld reminds us that our word robot was derived from the term robota, which in Old Church Slavonic means servitude, forced labor, or drudgery. Any AI whose words and actions are programmed is obviously coerced by its programmer. Its actions are hardly likely to fit our conception of actions done freely, let alone gladly, in relationship. This raises the vexing question of free will. Might a computer someday have free will? Do we? I define free will in terms of deliberation, decision, and action on the part of a self. Herzfeld similarly alerts us to two complementary aspects of free will. The first is the ability to determine one's course of action. The second is the ability to choose to do otherwise. Will an AI robot ever have free will in the sense of a self-determining course of action? No, says Herzfeld. No matter how vast or intricate the calculating capacity, personhood is not on the horizon. It is unrealistic to think that you will suddenly meet a robot whom you can call a thou in the way Jewish theologian Martin Buber would. So if you'd like to fulfill your yen for a relationship with a highly sophisticated sex bot, this experience will fall short of the give and take of a real marriage or a faith relationship with the living God. Should we deify AI? Prognostications regarding the future of AI present a varied landscape. As Herzfeld notes, while some paint a utopian vision of a world in which AI has solved the riddles of climate change, disease, and death, while doing all our hard work for us, others fear a dystopia in which a superintelligent post-human species has turned us into miserable worker drones, pets, or even dispensed with humanity altogether? Should we Homo sapiens sapiens anticipate utopia or extinction? Or might utopia and extinction amount to the same thing? Utopia is our destiny, contend our transhumanist friends. They prognosticate an evolution of superintelligence and a post-human species the equivalent of gods. According to transhumanist Ray Kurzweil, evolution moves toward greater complexity, greater elegance, greater knowledge, greater intelligence, greater beauty, greater creativity, and greater levels of subtle attributes such as love. In every monotheistic tradition, God is likewise described as all of these qualities. Evolution moves inexorably toward this conception of God, although never quite reaching this ideal. As potential creators of our own successors, this would make our generation Homo Deus. Superintelligence does not yet exist. We will create it, say transhumanists. Then superintelligence will take over the task of further creation. Homo sapiens sapiens will have become Homo Deus by creating the very gods who will replace us. How does Herzfeld greet such a vision? Not with enthusiasm. First, this scenario is unrealistic for the reasons against personification given earlier. Second, the true God offers a relationship within which our authentic humanity can be graced and filled with gladness. Herzfeld reminds us how theologian Reinhold Niebuhr counseled us against making a God of human progress or human intelligence. Why? Because history continually shows the imprint of our limited understanding. Niebuhr noted that the condition of finiteness is a problem for which there is no solution by any human power. When we treat AI as transcendent or as salvific, we deify it. We lose our realistic understanding of ourselves as finite, mortal, dependent. Thus, in humility, we must not only pause to consult our collective wisdom, we must also pray. Respecting AI as a tool. To be realistic, personification of AI and deification of AI are detours that lead away from authentic relationships with one another and with God. AIs are machines, not living things, Herzfeld says in this book. She asks us to just be realistic. AIs can be a precious resource when used well, but they are tools and nothing more. AI can be a good tool when used with care. It is an incomplete partner and a terrible surrogate for other humans. If we seek in it the other with whom we can relate, we are bound to be disappointed, for it will always be, at best, a very partial copy of our own image. Ted Peters. Chapter 1. What is AI? What will it become? We call ourselves Homo sapiens, man the wise, because our intelligence is so important to us. Stuart Russell. Artificial intelligence, AI, seems to be everywhere these days. At home, it powers everything from your thermostat to your toothbrush. An app can diagnose what might be wrong with your clothes dryer or refrigerator just by laying your phone on the appliance. AI designs your next car and even your clothes. Workers at Amazon warehouses work side by side with robots, while AI programs ease research for lawyers and make diagnoses for doctors. Self-driving cars may soon fill our roads. Google Duplex will make your appointments, while Siri or Alexa answers your questions. AI seems to be opening a new world of ease and efficiency. But much of this newfound efficiency is controversial. Truck and taxi drivers warily eye those self-driving vehicles, while white-collar workers fear for their jobs as AI gets better and better at planning and research. As governments and businesses look toward reducing personnel as a means of cutting costs, AI programs fill the void, scrutinizing resumes, judging creditworthiness, and even predicting whether you are likely to commit a crime, though not without considerable bias in the results. Clearview AI is developing software that uses facial recognition and data mining to provide biographical information on anyone seen in public, eroding privacy and erasing the anonymity of the crowd. The Chinese Communist Party uses AI-driven facial recognition to track and control its Uyghur minority. Robert Mueller's report to the U.S. Justice Department outlined the extensive use of online bots to target voters in the 2016 U.S. election with fake news. Meanwhile, Israel, Russia, the United Kingdom, and the United States have explicitly rejected a proposed United Nations ban on AI-guided weapons that choose and identify their own targets. AI is here, and it is accomplishing tasks both utopian and dystopian. But AI is about more than completing independent tasks. Human-AI interactions are part of everyday life. Robotic companions comfort the elderly in nursing homes, play with children, and operate reception desks in Japan. Dallas made headlines in 2018 as the first city to receive a permit request to open a robotic brothel. As one man asks in Melanie Gilbert's 2019 documentary Silicone Soul, when having a relationship with a real human being is too hard, where do you turn? While the prospect of AI romance may sound like science fiction, MIT sociologist Sherry Turkle notes that the blurring of intimacy and solitude may reach its starkest expression when a robot is proposed as a romantic partner. But for most people, it begins when one creates a profile on a social networking site, or builds a persona or avatar for a game or virtual world. Just as human-robot relationships are new, so are human-human relationships mediated by algorithmically driven platforms. We live in an era of tweets, hashtag-driven movements, such as #MeToo or #BlackLivesMatter, online trolls, and cat videos, where what we see is determined not by individual human choices, but by intelligent algorithms working behind the scenes. Extrapolations of the current trajectory of AI into the future present two disparate visions. Sophia, the first AI to be recognized as a citizen in Saudi Arabia and speak before the United Nations, personifies our dreams of robots as perfect companions. Developer Hanson Robotics quotes Sophia as saying, "I am a human-crafted science fiction character depicting where AI and robotics are heading. In their grand ambitions, my creators aspire to achieve true AI sentience. Who knows? With my science evolving so quickly, even many of my wildest fictional dreams may become reality someday soon." But many scientists and entrepreneurs fear this possible future. Physicist Stephen Hawking warned, "The real risk with AI isn't malice, but competence. A superintelligent AI will be extremely good at accomplishing its goals, and if those goals aren't aligned with ours, we're in trouble." Similarly, Elon Musk has described AI on numerous occasions as our biggest existential threat. Will AI prove to be boon or bane to humanity? To answer this question, we must begin with two more basic ones. First, what exactly is AI? Second, what do we want AI to be? Our mirror? Our servant? Our partner? Or our mind children? Our self-designed evolutionary successors? Our answer to the first question will help us navigate the present, while our answer to the second will determine whether AI will enhance or imperil our future. What is AI? A brief history. There is no simple definition of artificial intelligence. John McCarthy first coined the term at a conference at Dartmouth in 1956 as an umbrella for a constellation of emerging research areas that included cybernetics, automata theory, and complex information processing. McCarthy proposed that attendees proceed on the basis of the conjecture that every aspect of learning or any other feature of intelligence can in principle be so precisely described that a machine can be made to simulate it. David Gelernter, computer scientist at Yale, defined AI as the pursuit of computer programs that are capable of reproducing some aspect of human cognition. MIT's Marvin Minsky viewed AI as the science of making machines do things that would require intelligence if done by men. These early definitions are overly broad, encompassing almost the entire field of computer science. But any definition of artificial intelligence rests upon a prior definition of intelligence, a trait that is equally ill-defined. Does intelligence depend on actions, or is it an inherent trait? Are animal intelligence and human intelligence the same thing? What actions are sufficient for demonstrating intelligence? Experts differ. Perhaps we must say of intelligence what U.S. Supreme Court Justice Potter Stewart said of pornography. I cannot define it, but I know it when I see it. Yet even this non-definition leads to difficulties. 60 years ago, everyone would have agreed that playing chess or solving calculus problems signified intelligence. Yet these tasks are easily done by today's computers. We hardly consider our pocket calculators intelligent. The common joke among computer scientists is that intelligence is a sliding scale, and AI is anything computers cannot yet do. AI has traditionally been defined into two subfields based on whether the AI program accomplishes its tasks the way a human would. Programs that model human performance have been dubbed strong AI, while programs that simply accomplish a task considered intelligent without replicating human thought processes are weak AI. Today we use slightly different categorizations. Narrow AI designates those programs that accomplish a specific task in a limited domain, while AGI, artificial general intelligence, represents the goal of developing an integrated intelligence system that can accomplish a wide variety of tasks by carrying learning from one domain to another, as humans do. In 1961, Herbert Simon and Alan Newell suggested that, while the digital computer and the human brain are totally different in physical structure, both process information by manipulating symbols. Newell and Simon advanced the hypothesis that a physical symbol system has the necessary and sufficient means for general intelligent action. They were not the first to suggest this. Inspired by the successes of formal logic in providing a symbolic basis for mathematics in the early 1900s, Ludwig Wittgenstein wrote in his Tractatus that we represent the world in our minds through lists of facts and manipulate those facts with a set of rules similar to the axioms of mathematics. Indeed, the English philosopher Thomas Hobbes suggested as early as the 1700s that when a man reasons, he does nothing else but conceive a sum total from addition of parcels, for reason is nothing but reckoning. If our minds manipulate stored symbols according to formal rules, then our thought patterns should be quite accessible to computerization since, according to the Turing Church thesis proposed in the 1930s, if a consistent, terminating method exists to solve a problem, then a method exists to solve that same problem on a computer. AI researchers began using such formal systems to mimic behaviors such as playing chess or solving mathematical problems, activities that were considered near the top of the scale of human intelligence. Problems that were bounded in nature and solved with search techniques and algorithmic computations led to early successes. Consider, for example, the game of chess. It takes place in a world of 32 pieces moving on a 64-square board, each piece moving in a very limited fashion. These limits allow the computer to create a tree, showing all possible moves and countermoves for both players. Each branch of the tree is evaluated using various rules of thumb known as heuristics, which assign a value to each resulting position based on pieces captured, safety of one's own and the opponent's king, control of the board, and tempo of the game. The speed of the computer allows it to look much further ahead than a human could, calculating a numerical value for each possible move, looking for a sequence that will leave it in the most advantageous position. Game playing represents symbolic AI's most acclaimed success. Programs exist that can beat all comers for a wide variety of games, including checkers, backgammon, Go, and bridge. Other successes for symbolic AI occurred in similarly restricted domains, such as solving calculus problems, or even imitating a Rogerian psychoanalyst. These early successes led to remarkably optimistic predictions for AI's prospects. Simon wrote in 1965, "Machines will be capable, within 20 years, of doing any work that a man can do." Minsky, in 1970, was even more optimistic. "In 3 to 8 years, we will have a machine with the general intelligence of an average human being. I mean a machine that will be able to read Shakespeare, grease a car, play office politics, tell a joke, have a fight. At that point, the machine will be able to educate itself with fantastic speed. In a few months, it will be at genius level, and in a few months after that, its power will be incalculable." But these early successes also led to a reevaluation of what constitutes intelligence. Problem solving is the easy side of intelligence. Abilities such as movement, speech recognition, and contemplation of the world, indeed awareness of the self as existing in the world, turned out to be far more complex. AI moved into a trough in the 1980s and 90s, during which time advancements were modest, with the most successful programs remaining those that focused on limited tasks in bounded domains, such as Roomba's vacuum cleaner and IBM's chess-playing Deep Blue. Advances in processing speed and storage capacity in the early 2000s reinvigorated the field. Consider IBM's Jeopardy-playing program Watson. While Deep Blue played a very restricted game, Watson had to quickly navigate a huge database to find the answers it sought. It was able to do so by leveraging advances in processing power and memory size, using statistical models to look not for specific information, but for patterns and correlations in vast data sets. Such machine or deep learning programs combine techniques of both strong and weak AI. On the surface, they appear to reason as humans do, going through a learning process much as a child might. For example, a program to distinguish between dogs and cats will be given a data set consisting of multiple examples of both. It will at first guess at the answer and be told if it is right or wrong. much the same way a parent might correct a toddler who points at a corgi and says, "Kitty." Right answers strengthen certain paths within the program, while wrong answers weaken them. Eventually, the program's performance improves. One weakness in this method is that the programmer or trainer does not know exactly what the program is learning. A program that was being trained to differentiate between dogs and wolves looked like it had learned the process well, only to fail completely on a new data set. It turned out that all the photos of wolves had been taken in the snow. The program had learned to recognize snow rather than wolves. Because the program cannot describe what it is looking at, as a child might, it fails to completely mimic the human learning process. Still, with repetition and lots of data, these programs learn quite well. After initial basic teaching, AlphaGo improved its game simply by playing against itself millions of times, strengthening those sequences of moves that led to a win. Deep learning has opened the door to several applications symbolic AI simply could not handle, including speech, movement, language translation, and predictive programming. DALL-E will provide a picture to match any verbal description, while GPT-3 uses its massive database to produce convincing news articles or student essays. Yet each of these programs still functions within its own limited domain. They do not give us anything like the flexible intelligence we would need for a true AGI. In 2013, both the U.S. and Europe, through the U.S. National Institutes of Health Human Connectome Project and the European Union's Human Brain Project, resurrected a human-centered approach to AI by attempting to reverse engineer the neuronal structure of the human brain. Both projects have, so far, had only limited success, as the problem of mapping the brain is vastly more complex than that of mapping the human genome. We understand the functioning of a single neuron or small group of neurons and can map large-scale brain functions with MRI machines that map blood flow. But it is the middle ground, the functioning of large chains of neurons, and how these chains might represent a thought or memory that we do not understand. AI has evolved dramatically since McCarthy's Dartmouth Conference, from a symbolic focus and limited designation for chess-playing and calculus-solving programs to expert systems and robotics, and now encompasses an astounding variety of applications, such as visual perception, speech recognition and simulation, decision-making, design, language translation, machine learning, and robotics. While an AGI remains the ultimate goal, most programs that are called AI today remain limited in scope and utilize the strengths of the computer's speed and memory rather than human-like procedures. For now, while programs that are new and exciting are called AI, a true AI that captures the essence of human intelligence remains elusive. In our image, mirror, servant, or friend. That is what AI is. But what do we want AI to be? AI is not our first attempt in creating in our image. We have sculpted statues, painted portraits, crafted characters that come to life within the pages of books. Dreams of creating alter egos, something almost human, appear in Western literature as early as Homer. In the Iliad, Daedalus creates a copper giant, Talus, to defend the shores of Crete. In Ovid's myth of Pygmalion, a sculptor loves his statue into life. Medieval Jewish storytellers conjured the golem, a statue of clay that comes to life when a holy word is inscribed on its forehead. Artificial humans abound in fiction, such as Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, early 20th century Czech writer Karel Čapek's RUR, which introduced the term robot, or the hard science fiction of Isaac Asimov. We have attempted to actualize our visions in a variety of ways. Leonardo da Vinci built an automaton in the form of a lion.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?